Top 10 things not to do in Kazakhstan. It smells like socks. Don't come on time. Please do not make Borat jokes. It was even banned in Kazakhstan and they think Kazakh girls are their property. Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country in the world and it hurt a little bit. Everybody's gonna be like, ooh! And first one on the list is please do not make Borat jokes. And I know you might think that they're funny. I know you think the movie was funny and a lot of us think that the movie was funny too, but because it has the name of our country, a lot of people were offended, a lot of people, and I mean like a lot of people around the world don't know our country at all and the only thing that they hear about is Borat and they immediately think that, you know, it's underdeveloped. There's like, I don't know, I haven't even watched the movie to be honest, but I know that people are gonna hate you if you make comments like that, if you start joking around about Borat. It's just not nice. And I mean, you can talk about it if someone brings it up, but please don't make it a joke yourself. I mean, it's not even relevant anymore. The movie was released almost 15 years ago and it was even banned in Kazakhstan when it was playing around the world. And I would just ask you not to joke about it because I know people would react negatively. And I mean, I was joking about it when I was in the US because I knew people didn't know much about Kazakhstan, so that was the only thing that I could start the conversation with. And I had a roommate who was actually wearing a swimsuit of this Borat person and it was funny, I guess. I mean, when you know that the person is not referring to your country but they're just like laughing at the movie, that's fine. But when they're trying to point to some kind of flaws in our country or, you know, something is wrong with our country, and if they're coming to this country and making those jokes, that's just unrespectful. And you know that movie is not about Kazakhstan, just to make sure, right? It wasn't even filmed here. Like, there's nothing that relates to Kazakhstan except for the name. So I'm just gonna ask you, please don't make those jokes and don't refer to that movie unless somebody brings it up. Okay, and number 2 is don't whistle in someone's house. And this sounds strange, but Kazakh people believe that if you whistle in a house, in your home, you're not gonna have money. And this is some kind of superstition, some kind of weird belief. But you know, a lot of people are just like, if you're gonna whistle, I mean, there's no point for you to whistle anyway. But if you do, everybody's gonna be like, ooh! I mean, because I don't know where it comes from, but there is this superstition, there's this weird belief that whistling brings bad luck and whistling means that this house is not gonna have money, it's not gonna have financial wealth. So yeah, just try not to do that because, I mean, I don't believe in that, but you know, some people do and they might not like it if you do that. Number 3, and this is also relates to coming to a Kazakh house, and as in many Asian cultures, we also don't wear shoes in a house. We don't wear shoes that we wore outside in the house because for us it's like bringing dirt, bringing bacteria in the house, and we like to keep it clean. I don't know how it's different. I was actually trying to see why it's like that. We wear slippers in the house. I don't know, to me it's like dust, to me it's like bacteria, to me it's dirt from the outside that you bring inside the home and you breathe that and it just doesn't sound clean. And to me it's personal hygiene to not wear shoes in the house. That's the same to everybody in this country, so make sure you take off your shoes before entering someone's house. Number 4 is not to make faces about any kind of food, traditional national food that you taste in Kazakhstan, because you know, if you don't like it, you can just like politely not react.
Looks like meat.
Looks like roast beef.
This looks like my ear. Oh, whoa, not what I was expecting.
I was not expecting that. That was like milk. I thought it was gonna be milk.
Yeah.
It's really acidic.
Bubbly, kind of.
Don't make faces about it. Like some people start saying like, ew, this is so bad, or ew, this smells bad, or this looks bad, or this is like inhumane. I mean, we eat meat and you would probably know that before coming here. I just wanted to warn you, I have a video about weird eating habits and I'm gonna link it here. But we eat like a lot of weird things that you might think are weird. For us, they're normal. I would just ask you, if you're in someone's house, if they're serving you a meal and you start making faces, I mean, I know a lot of people wouldn't do that, but I've seen some kind of YouTube videos where people would try Kazakh food and they'd be like tasting kurt, for example. Kurt is like this dairy product that is salty and it is dried dairy product and it has like funky smell, but it's really good. Like, we like it a lot. But some Russian guy was like filming a video about tasting that and they were like all ew, like the smells like socks and things like that, and it hurt a little bit because, like, I mean, if you know this is someone's tradition, you know this is someone's national dish, and if you don't like it, just say you don't like it. You don't have to be mean about it, you know? You don't have to say all those like really bad adjectives about this particular dish. People are different, tastes are different, you don't have to like it, but at least be respectful.
See, that's good.
That one was good.
That tastes like roast beef.
It's kind of dry.
It's good though.
Yeah.
Is that horse?
It's good. Is it beef?
Number 5 is actually something that I stumbled upon when my friends from the US were coming to visit, and I started booking, you know, hotels, trips and everything, and I was calling to places and saying like, oh, you know, my American friends are coming, oh, my friends from the US are coming, and I started to hear that people are trying to take advantage of that and trying to make prices like twice as high. They were trying to make them higher for international people, and I was just like surprised, and next time I heard those things, I started to say, oh, it's just me and my friends, not mentioning that those friends are from the US or, you know, Europe. So when you're trying to book and you have someone local helping you, just make sure you don't disclose that you're from the US, you're from Europe, because local people here might think that you have like a lot of money, you're gonna be able to pay for that, you don't care how much it costs. So yeah, keep that in mind. Number 6, you might think that Kazakhstan is a place where people speak only Kazakh, but in fact, a lot of people speak Russian and not that many people speak English. I got a lot of questions on my previous videos that can you get by just knowing English? And you might be able to get by in like 2 major cities, Almaty and Astana, but you know, only so far. I would recommend for you to learn like top 10 words in Russian. Even like Russian would be good enough, but they can be like 10 most popular phrases in Kazakh, 10 most popular phrases in Russian, and that might help you a lot. But if you're going to remote areas, to like rural areas, I would suggest you take a local person with you, or you know, you learn a little bit of Kazakh or Russian so that you can speak to a local person, because they don't speak English. And I mean, English is not very widespread, so I would not advise you to rely just on English, but make sure you have some kind of, you know, translators, maybe like notes for phrases in Russian and Kazakh. So don't think that you're gonna get by just knowing English.
How can I find the nearest mall?
Как найти ближайший торговый центр?
Number 7, be careful talking to Kazakh girls at bars or clubs. You know, I've heard about some cases where Kazakh men were offended that, you know, a foreign guy is talking to a Kazakh girl and they might just come at you and start talking to you, like try to make you go away from that girl. And they just like, there's a lot of pride that, you know, Kazakh guys have, and they think Kazakh girls are their property, and they start to, you know, just point out to some foreigners that they're not supposed to do that. But it's not very common, but I've heard about some cases that happened like that. So make sure you either do that during the day or not too late at night, or maybe like you talk to a girl in very nice place, you know, somewhere in Almaty or Astana, but like you have to be careful about that. And if you have like more friends with you, that's even better. If you have a group of friends with you, that's better. So yeah, just wanted to warn you about that. Also, to that point, I mean, Kazakhstan is generally a very safe country. It's not like there's no wars, there's nothing shady about it. People are very nice in general, but common sense safety rules are advised to be followed, because there are, like in any country, there are some people that, you know, that some criminals, some people that like to arguments, some people that like to get into fights, you know. I would not advise you to get into an argument with anyone to try to like make your point, because you don't know what kind of guy or, you know, girl you stumble upon. I mean, we've had like 1 in a million case where a guy would have a knife with them, or, you know, a gun with them, and you know, like nobody knows what could happen. So I would just advise, especially if it's late at night, if it's like 2, 3, 4 a.m. I mean, drunk people can do anything, so I just wanted to warn you that, you know, don't get into fights, try to leave as soon as possible, call the police, but like, you know, just like be cautious. Number 8, and this also relates to coming to someone's house in Kazakhstan, and you know that we are very big on hospitality, we love having guests over. So if you're coming here and if you know a local person, they're probably gonna ask you to come to their house, they're gonna serve you the best meal they possibly can. But the only thing that I would advise you when you go to a Kazakh house, don't come empty-handed. That's a tradition probably in a number of countries, where you come to someone's house and you should bring something like maybe, you know, a box of chocolate, maybe like, I don't know, wine, whatever that is. It's always a nice gesture. It doesn't have to be something expensive. It's just showing that you care about that person. You're very grateful that they are bringing you over, and it's just, you know, nice thing to do. And it's something that's gonna show the host that you care, that you've learned about traditions, and yeah, it's just very nice and respectful. Number 9, and this is very funny because if you go to Germany, you probably are warned that you should come on time to everything. But in Kazakhstan, if you're going to parties, celebrations, weddings, some kind of events, don't come on time. And this is very funny, but it is true. I mean, when we had weddings, like, of course not in this type of world where there's quarantine and we try not to have any celebrations. I mean, people still do them, but generally there are not any events going on right now. But if there were, like, they're gonna happen eventually, and if you're coming to visit Kazakhstan, just make sure if you're like invited to like 5 or 6 o'clock, that means people are gonna come at 8 o'clock. So like an hour and a half, 2 hours later is totally fine and totally acceptable. And people usually having like celebrations or weddings, they keep that in mind, that, you know, guests are gonna be late, so they're serving food later. So yeah, just make sure you don't come on time, because you're gonna be waiting around for like an hour or an hour and a half for people to show up. So yeah, just wanted to warn you about that too. Number 10, and this relates to religion, and I have good news for you that you can go to mosques. You can visit mosques. This is totally allowed in Kazakhstan. The only thing that we ask is, I actually have a video about that where I talk about the mosque in Astana, but you just need to cover up, and you're welcome to walk into the mosque, but the only thing that you should do is don't be loud in a mosque, because I mean, it's common sense, but you know, some people would bring like cameras, would be like making interviews, doing something in the mosque that they're not supposed to. Just be quiet and just be respectful to people who are praying. And yeah, and you probably know that the largest religion in Kazakhstan is Islam, so we have a lot of mosques. So yeah, and that actually relates not only to mosques, but any kind of religious sites that you go to. Just try to be respectful to anyone who's there. And last but not least is, don't miss out on amazing nature, on amazing sightseeing that we have in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country in the world. Don't come here for like a day or two. Don't come here for a weekend. Try to come here at least for a week or maybe even a month, because there's like the west side, the east side, the south, and the north. They're so different. There's so much to see, and I would advise you to take a big chunk of time to spend a lot of time here, and you're gonna be amazed by nature, by food, by people, I hope. But yeah, and if you need any help with coming here, visiting, you know, finding places, making trips, you can easily reach out to me, maybe like DM me on Instagram, and we'll see from there. But also, I just wanted to ask you, if you have any questions, if you have any requests for videos, if you're wondering about something related to Kazakhstan, let me know in the comments below, or, you know, DM me on Instagram. And yeah, if you like this video, I also have this video about top 7 weird eating habits, which I was referring to in this video, so click here. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!